All right, man, peace. You know, brothers, I'm just here checking out this segment on the Stephen A. Smith and Max Kellerman show. And I'm looking at Stephen A. Smith's all-time all-star team. And I had to wonder to myself, has Magic Johnson done something personal to Stephen A. Smith to piss him off? Because the way in which he talks about Magic Johnson in this segment was so denigrating and so diminishing to the accomplishments that Magic Johnson was able to achieve as a player in the NBA, that I have to wonder if Magic did something to piss off Stephen A. Smith, because this is not the first time that Stephen A. has gone out of his way to not only not include Magic Johnson in his all-time starting five. Of course, in this case, it's for the all-time all-star team. In the other case, it was for Stephen A. Smith's all-time starting five for NBA players. I was like, damn, what's wrong with this dude? And you're going to hear it in this segment. Like, just the just the denigration in Stephen A. Smith's tone. I'm like, damn. So anyway, they're going to talk about it. I'm going to chime in.
This is an all-time team. I don't think anybody would beat this spot. Period.
Scotty, before I destroy this.
And look, I like Steph Curry. But Steph Curry is not good enough to be on anybody's all-time team. Not quite yet. Unless you're talking about the all-time greatest shooter team. Then yes, Steph Curry will be on that team.
Would you like to take a shot?
You know, I like everything that he did here.
I don't. My all-time all-star team would be the same as my all-time starting five. It would be Magic Johnson at the 1, Michael Jordan at the 2, Larry Bird at the 3. At the 4, I will put Tim Duncan. At the 5, I will put Hakeem Olajuwon.
If I was to change anything, I'll make this guy. Shaq is a 5. KD is a 3.
No, it's just the top 5. It's just the top 5.
I'm saying, I'm trying to position him.
Okay.
I would probably, and I know people will hate me for this, but I'll probably go with Tim Duncan. Thank you, my man. My God.
Like I've already stated in another video, you certainly can argue that you would take Tim Duncan over LeBron James, regardless of position. Just looking at impact, the things that Tim Duncan was able to do as the greatest power forward in the history of the NBA, they're right up there with the accomplishments of LeBron James.
Now, I'll say this. Kevin Durant's an interesting pick if you're trying to assemble a team, because actually, he doesn't need the ball. That's how great he is.
Absolutely.
And he could be a great complementary piece, so it's an interesting pick. Obviously, you have to have MJ. I'm not going with Shaq at the 5. I'm going with Hakeem.
Absolutely.
Because Hakeem could play any style. Like, think Tim Duncan. The only thing Tim Duncan could do better than Hakeem is pass. But by the end, Hakeem was a great passer, too. Let me come.
I'm not quite sure about that. I don't think that Tim Duncan could do anything better than Hakeem. But I will still put Tim Duncan ahead of Hakeem on my all-time greatest player list because he's won more championships. He's won so many more championships than Hakeem. Tim won 5, Hakeem only won 2.
Come back to both of y'all with your picks. I like them both. I respect where y'all coming from. Here's my issue. When we talk about Hakeem the Dream Olajuwon, even though he was absolutely positively phenomenal, because of what he did with the shake and everything else, he would take the ball away from some of these other components.
Absolutely not. You have no idea what you're talking about. Hakeem Olajuwon was not a black hole as a player. You're just making shit up.
That would be my issue with.
But he don't have to. And he could lock you down on defense and run the floor.
With Shaq.
Thank you, Max Kellerman. In this case right here, in this segment, Max Kellerman is making Stephen A. Smith look stupid.
Shaq, the ball, drop, step, yam. With a
Shaq is going to clog up the middle.
With a key.
Yes, he will. He will clog up the middle.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter because nobody else is going to the middle. That's my...
What are you talking about? Michael Jordan wants to penetrate.
Oh, point. Who did you want? Who did you want again? You said instead of LeBron. You said, let me tell you why I don't need Tim Duncan. Because I got
I know
Shaq.
what you're saying, but let me say this.
Right. Greatest power forward ever.
This team works for today's era.
Right.
I will give you credit for that.
I'm not even sure about that. Because would you really want Shaq for today's era? I mean, I guess that you would, because Shaq would be dominant in any era. But if we're talking about the era of the stretch 5, I would take Hakeem still.
That's right. But if you're able to play under different rules, I like Tim Duncan
okay,
on the block.
Fair enough. With different rules,
2 more.
With different rules, I would go with both of y'all picks. We going with today's. It was 2019.
I might, in that case, I might put Duncan there instead of Shaq and play a more small ball lineup.
Okay. Thank you.
But I'll give you something else. As great as Steph Curry shoots it, and as poorly as Magic shot it when he came out of college, right? Early in his career. By the time Magic was fully in his prime, With the fate of the universe on the line, Magic ain't missing the shot. And he's 6'9" and the greatest passer ever.
I love Magic Johnson. He ain't nowhere near this list.
Wow. Wow. Now, I want you guys to hear this again. Listen to what Stephen A. Smith said about Magic Johnson. Let me wind this back.
Missing the shot. And he's 6'9" and the greatest passer ever.
I love Magic Johnson. He ain't nowhere near this list.
Wow. Why would you say that about Magic Johnson? Like, when I first heard this, I'm like, did Magic Johnson piss in your lemonade or something? Like, what's going on with this? He's nowhere near this list. Like, I could see you saying Magic does not quite fit in on my list because of such and such, but to say that he's nowhere near this list. Wow.
He's coming on this list.
Scottie Pippen had to crack up with that. Let me wind this back one more time.
He's coming. With the fate of the universe on the line, Magic ain't missing the shot. And he's 6'9" and the greatest passer ever.
I love Magic Johnson. He ain't nowhere near this list.
He's coming on this list. He's coming on this list. I'll give you one.
Look at Molly Karen. Maybe she said, wow.
I'll give you one more. Yep, I'll give you one more. I'll give you one more. As I said, Kevin Durant is a great complimentary piece.
I don't like y'all berating any of my
I'm not berating any of them. I love them. But I'm just saying.
But you're leaving someone else out who could shoot the ball and play in this era. Larry Bird.
Sure.
Instead of Kevin Durant.
No. Not instead of Kevin.
Thank you, Max Kellerman. I agree with you. Yo, Max Kellerman is on point when it comes to this segment right here.
Kevin Durant. Yep. You know why? Because Larry Bird could not handle and he could not defend like Kevin Durant.
Larry Bird could handle the rock just as well as Kevin Durant and was much tougher mentally, much more of a leader than KD. Now, of course, KD was a better athlete. Maybe his face-up game was slightly better than Larry Bird's, but Larry Bird's post-up game was way better than KD. Larry Bird was a much better passer and rebounder than Kevin Durant. It's close, but I'm going to take Larry over Kevin Durant.
No, but he could shoot the lights out, rebound, and he was also one of the greatest passers of all time.
I got a roster.
And also one of the great clutch players of all time as well.
Roster that complements one another.
That's true, Durant.
I'm not quite sure about that. I'm not quite sure how well that roster complements one another. Michael Jordan would have a hard time penetrating to the basket with Shaq just sitting there in the paint.
That's what it is. Just admit it. This list is special. The list is special.
I'm not going with him.
And LeBron is a player who does not like to play with a center that always needs the basketball. He actually likes to move his center outside the paint.
Remember him, but
that's all I'm saying.
They're all good. They're the greatest players of all time.
Stephen A, good stuff. Scotty, appreciate you. Always good to have you with us. Thanks for coming and hanging out with us.
But anyway, that's basically it on that. Maybe we'll find out what Magic Johnson did to piss Stephen A. Smith off down the line. So peace.